Okay, so we're gonna be pre-sprouting dahlias today. I have several varieties here. I have a full table filled with dahlia tubers. I'm gonna start with the ones that I potted up from last year. This is from my garden, and I'll show you some pictures of what that looks like. So here are a few varieties of dahlias that I had last year in my garden. This year, I lost about half of the tubers. They did not do very well. So I am curious to see which ones are actually going to sprout out this year. Hopefully some of the ones that I took pictures of in this video. But I'm already seeing mold right here. I could smell it. Let's see, right there. You see that fuzzy mold? Hopefully I could cut that part off and see if that will be salvageable. So what I'm going to do is just check for viability in these tubers. What you're looking for is a firm body, meaning like the tuber itself. You want it to be firm. You don't want it to be squishy. You don't want it to be shriveled. I would actually argue the point that shriveled is better than squishy. Squishy means it's completely dead. Some tubers, like here, you could see there's a little bit of wrinkling. That's okay. But if it's like wrinkled and hard, it's not viable anymore. Like hard and dried out. Squishy parts, like the part that I just took off, that means it's completely dead, that portion of the dahlia tuber. The second thing you want to look for is a strong neck. And you also want to look for eyes at the tip of the neck, at the head of the tuber. So I'm going to go ahead and forward to a point where I'm going to take a better shot of the neck and the eye and the tuber body, just so that you can see a good example of what that looks like. Okay, I got a good amount already planted up. This is kind of what you want. Okay, this is a single tuber. It has its body intact. It's nice and firm. There's eyes on it. You might not be able to see it, but there's eyes on this, and the neck is intact. So I'm just gonna sprout this in here, kind of put it like that, and cover it up. I have many of them in here, so I'm just trying to check if I have any that are viable in this box. I hope so, because this was my garden, my dahlia garden last year. I do have a lot of rot. See here, there's rot on there, but I'm gonna cut that off and see if that's still okay and viable. And then I still have a lot more to go through, but I'm just gonna go through that myself, show you what you don't want in a tuber to go ahead and try to pre-sprout, and the ones that you do want. So I will get back to you. Now this, I know, is gonna be a major bummer. Someone sent me a whole bunch of tubers, and I did not pack them in vermiculite. Look how rotted that is. Oh, I kept them in this bark dust. Oh my gosh, look how shriveled that is. It's so sad. So unfortunately, this entire box was decimated. All of it was unusable, and they were dried, shriveled, and hard and rotted. So I'm gonna go ahead and compost all of these, but next year what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna skip vermiculite. I'm gonna skip pine shavings. The way I'm gonna go ahead and store them is in soil. I'm gonna store them in a great big tote of soil, and hopefully they'll be viable the following year. I just think keeping them in their natural habitat, as close to their natural habitat as possible, will ensure that they stay fresh. And most people keep their dahlia tubers in ground if their season doesn't get too cold, and their tubers come back as perennials every year. So I think the best bet for me is just to keep them in soil and store them. I may possibly keep them in ground and heavily mulch over them to see if they'll store well. My only concern is that Oregon gets a ton of rain and that they may rot. At the end of last year's summer, I did have some rot in my tubers, and that's because of rain. So we'll see what I decide to do this year, but it's definitely where I'm going to keep them in soil. Okay, let's look at the carnage. There's quite a bit of tubers that I've lost. I've lost this entire box. Lesson learned. These guys are going into coffee. No, I dropped the whole thing in there. Okay. On a good note, I do have these Eden Brother collections of mixes of dahlias that I ordered, and they are all in great condition. All of the tubers are firm, the necks are sturdy, and the head of the tuber has viable eyes, and some of them are even sprouting. So I have that going for me. So I have 15 different varieties that I will be planting from the Eden Brothers collection. So now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to inspect them to make sure that there's no broken necks, any broken dangly parts that need to be removed, like this one. So I'm going to go ahead and place them. And then after I place them down, you could either place them sideways. If it's a single tuber, I would recommend doing it sideways. But if it's a clump like this, I would just face the clump downwards and the neck up. And here you'll notice that I have one that's already sprouting. You'll see that it's sprouting from various parts. And I think I'm going to go ahead and cut some of these tubers off so I could get more than one. Okay, so this is the vintage violet. I did end up cutting one that has eyes right here. It's a little tiny tuber. But I wanted to give that one a go because I want more plants. And I'm going to take cuttings of these as well. So now I'm going to go ahead and do the quick interruption for the culprit who is chirping in the background. We have romantic mix. I do have an extra of the vintage violet, so I'm going to put that here. And then I'm going to tag it vintage violet. Okay, let's get started with this. So from here on out, I'm going to go ahead and fast forward to the point where I get to one tuber that is actually a little bit rotted. So I'll see you in that clip. All right, last one. This is the Old World mix. Okay, so this neck looks rotten. Oh no, I don't care for that. And there are a lot of danglies going on here. Maybe I should cut that part off, but that does look rotten. Look at that. I'm a little disappointed with that, but I'm gonna cut that off and see if I could salvage it. Yeah, because I see eyes, good eyes there. Hopefully that'll be okay. Okay, I cut it off, but it's completely hollow in there. Ugh, I don't know what to do. I think I'm gonna email Eden Brothers. They're pretty good about sending you out the replacement or just reimbursing you, so I'm not worried about that. But gosh, I still wanted this to work. We'll see. See, there's some viable eyes right there, but it's so close to the rot. Will it survive? I don't know. So this is the Old World mix. Oh, I'm a little bummed. No, I don't think there's any more. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and fill this one up. Okay, so I have all my dahlias here that I'm gonna go ahead and pre-sprout. I have a couple over there too. I just wanted to show you a couple of things. So I have some really healthy tubers and I have some really crummy tubers. These are from my last year's garden and they are doing really well. They are nice and firm and they have eyes located at the top. They have strong necks. That's what you're looking for. And I can't really find an eye that you could identify very well on camera right now. But there's one right here. Kind of looks like a potato eye a little bit. So I have that. And some of the ones that came out of my garden were atrocious and I had to dispose of them. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back in here. So all I'm doing is just laying it on its side and letting those roots get soil and some moisture so that I could get that pre-sprouting. Here I have the Eden Brothers tubers and those look really good. They're nice and firm. They come in a clump. They have eyes all over and even some of them were sprouting already. Oops. I'm outside right now and it's starting to sprinkle. So it came with 5 per pack that I bought. So I have 5 different tubers here. One is already sprouting there. And I'm keeping them all in the same container so that way I could plant them together when they go out into the garden. But this one here is Vintage Violet. And then here I got some extras from the Vintage Violet. So here I took out a portion from the clump because it had some eyes. So I wanted to see if that would sprout for me. And then the remainder here's the big clump from that Vintage Violet. And I also wanted to test what everyone says. They say since it doesn't have a neck or an eye, you can't plant it. So some of these little tubers here don't have necks or eyes, and I want to see if that's true for me. It's just a test. It's just to appease my curiosity. And here I have the Dahlia Romantic Mix, and this is from Eden Brothers as well. This one here is Old Rose Mix. And then here I have some from my garden as well. And some more from my garden. And then this one I got from Lowe's. This is the 3 Dahlia Tickled Pink blend. And then over there, I still have some from my garden as well. Well, this is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.